Hey, you guys, I'm in San Andreas, California. We're at Calaveras High School. Let's check out how an entire community is getting behind career and technical education. This is Ready for Work. Welcome to Ready for Work. I'm here, as I said, Calaveras County. We're at Calaveras High School. I'm with Kevin Hesser. Kevin, I'm going to let you kind of tell us, your position here, right, what it is you do, and then I want to talk about your career and technical education program. So,
great. I'm an ag teacher here at Calaveras High School and also the CTE director for the high school. So I teach a crop production class up at the farm. I teach a 3D design class, which is kind of an introduction into our engineering pathway. And then I also teach a culinary class as part of the crop production, and an outdoor rec and conservation class, which is our concentrator class for our forestry pathway. Another teacher, Noah Crossan, teaches our forestry class, which is a CCAP with Columbia College. I'm here. I've been at the high school for, I think, 8 years now. And prior to that, I taught at the middle school, and I actually taught elementary school before that. So kind of have seen the gambit, but been here and part of our career technical education program at Calaveras High School for the last 8 years. The career technical education program at Calaveras High School, we've got an ag program, which has ag welding, ag mechanics. So that's where the kids are getting their construction trades and things of that nature, and welding skills, etc. We've got an agri-science program, a pathway. We've got a forestry and natural resource pathway, and then an ornamental horticulture pathway in our ag sector. Then we also have an engineering design pathway, which has been new the last 4 years. So we're doing that through Project Lead the Way curriculum, an automotive pathway, and then a medical science pathway as well, which we'll kind of do a little tour and walk around.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm excited to see that. So yeah. I think it's important to start with like a profile of the community, right? Because this is a rural community.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
up in the foothills.
Yep.
You're in the northern part of our region, is called the Central Valley Motherlode region.
Yep.
And you're kind of in the northern part of that. You talked about a lot of like forestry resources and agriculture. That really is and things like welding and construction trade. Those are necessary trades for this area, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. We've to fine tune what we're offering here at the school, we've definitely looked at our community and gone through our community needs assessment and looked at what kind of jobs are available here in this community, as well as the valley. Definitely we consider as part of where we have a lot of students that go down, and actually a lot of people that live in our community commute to the valley to work. Because we're a rural foothill community. Our high school, I think this last year was a little under 800 students, 750 or so. And so, most of the work, we have a lot of agriculture in the area. There's vineyards, there's cattle, there's, and again, a lot of building construction type of jobs, as well as, we've got our hospitals, and so that's where our medical science there's a lot of employment in that industry as well. So,
and that, I'm glad you brought that up, because, the sector profile that the community colleges help us put together as a guidance, this area really is slated for a lot of aging folks to retire here.
Yep.
In that capacity, probably less families. So, probably not going to concentrate on, and I'm just speculating here, but probably not going to concentrate on things like coding and things like that. Probably don't foresee, Intel or a company like that relocating here. However, your medical programs are really important to this community as folks move out here and buy property and retire, right?
Well, absolutely. And that's what we found. That one actually has the highest percentage of our graduates of that program, of that pathway. I mean, it's amazing. Like 90% of those students are going on to either a 2-year or 4-year in nursing, or continue with medical training, or getting right out into the medical field of because there's just so many ways to get into it, and such a huge need in this area.
Lot of support in medical, support positions in medical.
Absolutely.
Most people, the old school, Gen X, right? So the old school is like, you're going to be a nurse, you're going to be a doctor, right? And there are so many more support positions available that are super in demand. So important to have those pathways. What I was most impressed about, and recently I came up for an advisory board meeting, which I thought I was blown away by how aligned your programs are in this community, especially in the medical. You have a ton of like private sector support for these programs. So how did you guys pull that off?
I mean, it's just been, that program's been around for like 30 years at least, it's been over the years building that support and getting students placed in those work-based learning sites. So that's just been, and Suzanne Butler, who's, and now we have, Stephanie Attaway, who's teaching in that, program as well, has just been a go-getter in terms of reaching out to community members and building those relationships with the different industry partners, whether it's a, physical therapy office or the hospital or the fire station or, the ambulance service. I mean, so really, beating the pavement and building those relationships. And the same thing with, our ag mech. I mean, Jason's been around, he's been teaching that for 30 plus years now. And so he's just built relationships with our local, contractors, our local, shops and getting kids so they can get out there and actually see that in action. So, It's important to make that connect in all CTE. It's important to make that connection between what you're doing, like here at school, right, and that welding stick in your hand, and then how that relates out there in the real world, right? Yeah, absolutely. So. And then the same thing when we talk, forestry and natural resources was one that we added 4 years ago. But again, that came off of like, what are the opportunities for our students in this area, and being rural and with all the national forests and the, Sierra Pacific Industries and the Forest Service and, our RCD and other folks that are, East Bay Mud, we've got folks that are managing land, lots of land, and whether it's as a water resource, as a, wood resource, whatever, forestry resources. There's just lots of opportunity for our students to manage those spaces here in our community. So.
Fire management is a big deal. You're in the foothills, and that's big in the news. We hear it all the time. And it just, to me, it just makes sense. If you live here, the threat is real, right? Absolutely. So what better pathway than the students that live here in this community who understand the importance of that to get into a program like that? And that is your forestry management, your fire management. And there's a brand new program, because I spoke to Steve Amador at Columbia College yesterday, where I forgot what he called it, but, it's like burn management. So they're training folks to go and kind of clear
burns, do all the prescribed burning.
Clear that undergrowth, which is a big push from the state of California in terms of that fire management and things we're seeing happen, when we have power outages, et cetera. So, and that's all aligned through Columbia College?
Yeah. Well, so actually our forestry program, so the students that take our capstone forestry class, they're getting Columbia College credit for that as a CCAP course. So they're actually enrolled at Columbia College, taking the class here from NOAA, and they're getting that college credit. And then if they go on to Columbia or go on to anywhere for that matter, they can carry those units with them. But we're really priming to get more kids into that, Columbia College forestry program. They've just got a great program over there. And again, it's local. It aligns with what we're trying to do. And that program was actually developed with that. It wasn't developed like, how do we line up with Columbia? It's like we developed it to align with what they're doing over there. So
that's interesting. You've been doing this a long time. Yeah. I'm pretty new to the CTE thing, right? I came into education about 4 years ago. So to me, like the dual enrollment piece is still like super new. Right. And I know a lot of folks, especially across the state, there's been a lot of turnover in career and technical education folks, right? A lot of new folks. So when you're talking about dual enrollment and articulation and how those things are aligned, help, someone not in our thing, right? Understand how that works.
So my understanding of it, and which I hope this is relatively accurate, because that's how
because it's a little bit different in every community college.
So there's different. So an articulated course would be one where. So there's three different things. We got these articulated courses, dual enrollment, and CCAP. And I'm still a little bit unclear the dual enrollment and the CCAP, what exactly is different about those. But an articulated course is basically, I'm teaching a class here. I show my course outline to a teacher at a community college, and they say, yep, what you're teaching there covers all the things I needed to cover so the kid can get units for, if they come to that community college, they can get credit for it. And so I'm still kind of pretty much teaching my course. I might look and see what they're doing, but it aligns enough and it's a articulation between the high school CTE or high school teacher and the community college, and
that's teacher to teacher.
Yeah. And they say, yep, that works. The CCAP and dual enrollment is more that the teacher at the high school and or students could take a Columbia, they could go to Columbia College, get high school credit and community college credit for that course. So can be some that are dual enrolled, and it may be some of those are taught here in the evening, or students could actually go to the community college, take that course or online and be being taught by the community college professor, and or it could be the high school teacher, but it would be a dual enrollment. The kids getting both, the students getting both community college credit and high school credit for that course. And then the CCAP, at least is my understanding, is that so right now it's being taught the same thing. The teacher who's teaching the class has been approved by the community college to teach their course. So, and it could be the community college teacher that's coming to the high school. And actually we have one, our preschool, our early childhood development class is, in the past was taught by a Columbia teacher that came here. This one, Noah, had everything he needed to be a Columbia college teacher. And so he was approved to teach their course here at the high school. So he's teaching the Columbia. So he's literally teaching the forestry class from Columbia, going what their class is, teaching it to the students here. And is basically a Columbia College teacher teaching here at Calaveras High School.
That's a great connection.
But he's on our staff. So there's two ways they do that, right? We're utilizing a teacher on our staff, which usually works out best because getting somebody to come from the college, the timing and everything else can be a little bit tricky. So that's working out really well. And again, he's been a great fit for that, has a ton of experience. And so that's working out really well for us.
That's actually a really great sort of explanation of how all of that works, especially for parents who happen to see this. And, and that's the big push. I mean, everybody, I think we all want high school kids to graduate high school with a marketable skill that's going to earn them a living. I think that's the goal. And I hear it all the time, whatever happened to, right? The shop class or automotive and those things. But while we still have those things and those skills are important, technology is taking over. And that's why it's important to align to like a community college, just so parents understand how that works. So,
and I think the big thing with, just the nuts and bolts of whether it's articulated, dual enroll or CCAP is that you can be getting community college credits while you're still in high school. So for all three of those, again, they look a little bit different in the technicalities of it, but with all three of those situations, students can be earning college credits while in high school.
Yeah,
so
there's value in that for sure.
Absolutely.
So, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about sort of a ballot initiative you guys are spearheading, which I think is really cool because you're getting this entire community behind career and technical education.
Absolutely.
So stick around. We'll be right back.
Because of life circumstances, I didn't graduate from high school.
I knew I needed a diploma to be successful and provide for my family, so I enrolled in the CBK Adult Charter School.
The teachers are very supportive. They even offer resources and training programs to help with a career once you graduate.
CBK showed me how hard work and dedication to my goals really pay off.
I earned my high school diploma thanks to CBK.
Learn more about the program during an orientation session. It is never too late to earn your high school diploma.
All right, we're back at Calaveras High School. I'm with Kevin Hesser. Kevin, I want to talk to you about a bond initiative you have coming up. We know that in career and technical education, it sometimes it's tough to keep up with the technology. It's tough to keep up with the demands of industry.
Absolutely.
We're trying to match those things and align those with how we're teaching because we want to teach relevant skills. And of course, in the last segment, we talked about really at the core, ultimately our goal in career and technical education is to have seniors graduate programs with a marketable skill that they can earn a living. You guys are planning to do some really kind of cool major upgrades for your CTE facility. Tell me about what's happening there.
Yeah, we're super excited, and we're in the process of getting this out to our community and talking about what this would mean for our students and the community as a whole. But yeah, we want to do some facility upgrades for both. So building a whole new CTE facility, which would house our ag mechanic shop, our welding shop. It would house our forestry and natural resource program. It would house the agri-science programs, and also house a CTE center. So like where students, we could have our career technical education and career counselors. So basically a career center where students could go meet with the counselors and have that space where we could go in and kids could learn about the career, the college, all those kinds of things that, what are the next steps for them. It would also upgrade our engineering facility, and our auto facility. So directly would benefit, pretty much all of our career technical education pathways, through either the new building that we're going to be building and or upgrades to existing structures and facilities, which is really, we'll walk around a little bit later. But our shop right now was probably the oldest building on the campus.
Really?
What used to be the bus barn for the high school,
Oh, wow.
like originally, or for the district, not for the, it was the bus barn. It was where when the district first, not when it first started, but back, I don't know what the years were. Jason might know better than I, but
This is an old community.
Yeah, it was where they worked on the buses, and then it got transitioned, things transitioned into, a shop. I don't know what year that happened, but now, you'll see it's an old building that just, we're making do with. But boy, I'll tell you what, as many kids are enrolled in those shop classes and those construction tech classes, it's essential. Honestly, I mean, it's not just, we're not at the point anymore where it's like, oh man, it would be nice to have a new space. It's like, we really gotta do this.
So all of that essential. I hear that word, not essential in the terms of we need more space, right? It really is essential to bring all of those resources to one place for the students so that it all kind of works cohesively, right?
Absolutely.
The idea that you have to bring your career and technical education counselors into that same facility providing resources, that's an important piece of that puzzle too, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, because right now we're kind of spread out in different places. I mean, we're kind of all over the place. We have our shop in the one building, and then our auto and engineering are there. Our medical science is kind of on the other side of campus. Yeah. Although they've got a nice big space right now. We definitely want to get in and upgrade that as well. Which would be, we're talking about how we integrate that in also. Mm-hmm. But for now, their space is what they need. And we really just need, whether it's a facility, as a space, bringing us all together so that for the students, right, it's there, it's accessible for the community. It also brings it right to when you come into our campus, so our community will have access to it. So if we want to run even like evening welding programs for community members or other things, or even, talking about we're using community college, CCAP or dual enrollment, possibly even offering, adult classes in the evenings. It puts everything kind of right there at the front of our campus, easily accessible, with state-of-the-art facilities that will be able to serve not only our students, but the community as a whole. I
love that idea. Yeah. Those are things that we're looking at doing down in Stanislaus County as well. Schools really are becoming kind of like in the old days, right? When school was really the center of the community.
Absolutely.
And I love the idea that that's coming back and you'll be able to offer that. I mean, let's just face it. It's a bond initiative. We're talking about taxes. If adults are paying those taxes, they should have access to an evening welding class if you need that skill or want to learn that skill, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. And just making it, we want to make it as accessible as possible to our entire community in whatever facet that looks like.
Give them the buy-in. Get them down here with a welding stick in their hand. Give them the buy-in on that. So let's talk about how what needs to happen. Elections coming up, right? This is going to be on the November ballot, right? Yep. So how are folks in this community? What do they need to do to get behind this?
Well, I think what they need to do is understand that we've got to invest in these kids if we want to have a strong community. And even when we look at our own property values in this community, right? The stronger school and the stronger community we have will benefit even your home value, right? So when you're investing in our community, you're also investing in your property value. And I think that that's important for people to think about, right? When we create schools and places where people want to come and move to and live and be a part of, that's going to increase that. as important, I think, is just what we want to develop, opportunities for people in our community. We want to keep kids in our community. We want to bring jobs to our community, all of which will, keep improving our community as a whole, and the value of just not only the monetary value, but the social value of where we live and our community as a whole. So I think, investing in our kids and in our schools, I don't think there's any better way to do that, right? And to show that we believe in communities being strong is by doing that. And I guess, the biggest thing would be, if we don't do it, who's going to do it? Right.
That's a solid point.
Right. I mean, if our community doesn't step up, it's not going to happen. And so as a community member in Calaveras, right, if we want to see these things happen, if we want great schools for our kids, if we want to provide opportunities to train our students to have, skills that can be applied in the jobs that, if you're a business owner, how hard is it right now to find somebody that can fill your need? Right. And we all know what it's like to hire somebody right now, and that we want to increase that. We want to provide local students from our community that can fill the positions, which will benefit everybody. And if we don't invest in it, who will? So
it's there's a whole bunch of return on that investment,
right?
And it's generational, right? If you do this now, So how many schools are in this district?
So there's one high school, and then we've got 6 elementary schools, a middle school, and a high school. And so we've got 8 schools
that feed into this school, right? You're one high school.
We're one high school that's fed by the 6 elementaries, then 1 middle school, and then 1 high school.
So I'm kind of laying it out for those to see the big picture down the road, right? So if you've got 8 elementary schools, or before they get here, that investment now is going to be available to those students when those students come up and funnel into this school.
Absolutely.
So,
and that's kind of actually the beauty of our school system, is that it is that simple. Like in some place like Stockton, it might be, one elementary school might go, kids might go to different high schools,
or 4 or 5 high schools.
Right. Yeah. And so, but here it's like, it is like a funnel, right? It's like a school watershed, right?
Yep.
All these kids funnel into here. And so what we're doing here, we can then work backwards. And we're already starting with, looking at some middle school programs with medical and agriculture and all that kind of stuff. So our kids are getting primed before they even come to the high school, so that they understand what are the pathway opportunities here, what are the jobs in our community, and wanting them thinking about it even earlier, and even going back to like elementary school, and our high school kids are going there and talking to them even at the elementary school, just like talks and showing them what we're doing. And we do tours and stuff here at the high school, but yeah, really looking at it collectively, K-12, not just the high school. So it's going to benefit all those kids, not just the high school students.
And the community. As you mentioned earlier, you could do night classes and some other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is very, very cool and exciting things that are happening up here. Can we see some programs?
Let's do it.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
All right. Stick around. We'll be right back.
StanCareerPath.com is a new website from the Stanislaus County Office of Education, designed to help students and parents, adult learners, and local businesses connect with career and technical education programs throughout the county. High school students and parents can use StanCareerPath.com to help with career pathway decisions in scheduling high school classes. Adult learners can use StanCareerPath.com to discover training programs available in Stanislaus County. Businesses can use StanCareerPath.com to connect with local high school programs and build partnerships in a variety of ways with educational agencies. StanCareerPath.com also allows for collaboration between educators in the same career fields. With resources like Join the Workforce, you can discover businesses in Stanislaus County that offer career opportunities for students and adults in 15 specific industry sectors. StanCareerPath.com is an excellent tool to collaborate as a county and work towards preparing our students for their careers. Check it out at StanCareerPath.com.
Jason Weatherby.
Jason, and what class are you teaching here, Jason?
I teach Ag Technology and Ag Equipment Construction 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, so that's a lot. I was here earlier kind of watching the kids doing. You have a wide variety of kids in this program, right?
Yeah.
How important is this skill? We talked about this earlier. How important is these skills to this community?
Well, these skills are pretty much problem solving and then finding the correct tools to be able to fix whatever you're working on. And fabricating things. So they have to be able to use a tape measure. They have to be able to build a project. They have to be able to put the project together. So it's all a process, and they got to be able to sketch it out. They got to be able to get a bill of materials from it. All those skills are important in life when you do any home projects or whether you get a job at it. All those skills are important in life.
When kids leave this program, are they moving on to like community college, and what are those courses like, or are they going directly into careers?
They're doing both. Some of them will go on for further training. Some of them will go to college and get a part-time job using the skills that they got in here to pay for their college, which is pretty handy. And then the ones that go into the careers are usually in the area of electricians, plumbers, all those types of careers.
Fabricators.
Some will fabricate. If they go into welding, they usually need some more training, some additional training. And then when you become a welder, if you're on a pipeline or something like that, you're a fitter for 5 years before you actually run any type of weld on it. So,
and that's an apprenticeship model, right? Because you said it's 5 years, right?
Right.
Good. Do you have a pipe fitters union up here?
They mostly go down in the valley.
Down in the valley where I'm at, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So tell me about the facility here. We talked a little bit about that, right? So it seems like I was going to hear filming a little bit earlier. It seems like we're a little bit busting at the seams here.
Yeah, we've got 170 kids in the program in 6 classes. So what's that? That's almost 30 per class. And we've got 10 welding stations that are spread out throughout the whole place. We've got welders that are in rooms by themselves. So supervision sometimes is an issue. I've got an advanced area in the back where students will fabricate most of their projects.
You want to show us around a little bit?
Sure.
Cool. Perfect. All right. I'll come with you, sir. You want to go ahead?
Yep.
You're mic'd up, so feel free to kind of give us the tour.
Gotcha. All right, are you filming now?
Yeah, you better put them on.
I just walked in from outside, that's why.
Still leave them on.
I know.
How's that look?
I know. How is that?
Yeah, not bad.
That's like
Take
4
the wire
levels.
wheel and push it.
That's what we just did. We just put it in the water too.
Okay. Make sure that you overlap. Each of those need to overlap about halfway.
Like this has to go on top of that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because every time you have that gap in there, that will create slag pockets. And those slag pockets are not good. They're harder to get covered once you go the other direction.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so as Jason was talking about, right now the shop is kind of broken up into these smaller pieces, whereas we just talked about the bond and getting a new facility here would just be one big large shop, which would be obviously way easier to manage, way easier to put your equipment. It'll be designed specifically for the equipment that we have, and also new equipment that we want.
Expanding the area. We've got 4. We have 4 really nice welding booths with some industry standard welders that are there. And hopefully we'll be able to expand the number of those we have in the stations that we have for kids to be able to use. We have 9 stations right now, and I'm hoping to be able to get a 10th one until we get the new building and be able to expand what they do.
Cover for me a little bit more of what we just talked about in terms of pathway, just so I make sure I have that covered. I'll have you get this mic nice and close.
Okay.
So like I think earlier I asked you about like where kids go after this class. So
yeah, we also have a unit on electrical work where they have these electrical boards that they do like residential wiring. so they have exposure to that and understand what the hot wires are and what the open wires are in the grounds and how the ground has to be there. We also have a small plumbing unit where they learn how to do PVC plumbing and copper pipe plumbing and soldering of copper pipe, those type of things. So those skills, those are jobs that they can get directly into after high school. They can get a job at 18 making $22 to $25 an hour and then go up from there as their skills develop. And those would be with like local contractors. We have 2 or 3 local contractors that do a lot.
So Jason, if they're going on to a community college setting, like up here in Columbia, what courses would they take after active?
Yeah, I haven't worked on it.
They would be taking the welding program up there and become certified out of there, and then they have a good placement program for where those kids go from there. I know one student just got hired from Columbia at I don't remember the name. They make. Gosh, I'm trying to think of that. What's that place up at the old airport? Roof? Yeah. No, it's they build soundproof walls basically, and so they travel all over the world putting in these soundproof walls in industrial buildings and in offices, all sorts of things. But anyway, it's a global company that's local that will hire local people to be able to work for them. And they just hired one of the welders out of Columbia.
Excellent. Yeah. Who's this gentleman joining us here?
This is Devin Wilden, and he's building a project that next week is the Concours d'Elegance, the car show.
Up here at Ironstone.
At Ironstone, and this is going to be one of the items that they're going to silent auction off.
Good.
They've been working on for a couple weeks.
So tell us about this. I'll let you hold that. Tell us a little bit about this.
So it's a barbecue barrel, and we took the acetylene torch and heated up this 1/4-inch flat or square stock, and twisted it, and bent it over to make the handles. And then we took a piece of sheet metal, and outside on our new roller, we rolled it to make the side of the barrel. And built a little door with hatches. The hinge kind of hidden in it. So
nice. And you're smoking meat, tri-tips, that kind of stuff in there?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And you're going to auction this off. It's a project you made. You're going to auction it off at the car show at Ironstone, right?
Yeah, I think it's for the it's for the FFA or the classroom.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Devin, do you want to tell them a little bit about? I mean, because I know you apply a lot of the skills you're learning in this class, and you work in this field, right? So you have a job. So what are some of the skills that you've picked up in this class that you're applying now, and how do you think you're going to apply those in the future in your career and what you want to do after high school?
It's a great question, Kevin. I'm going to let you host this show from now on.
Right?
So but yeah, go ahead and tell us about that.
Well, I started freshman year welding, and freshman year I got a job working on a ranch, and I've been using all the skills I learned here and to basically do my job.
So this is a good example. Kevin and I talked earlier about the skills that we're teaching here and how they're necessities in this community, because this is a rural community and you're doing ranch work, right? So you're learning stuff in an ag mechanic shop, right? And kind of this stuff is kind of a kind of niche-y or a nuance in more of an urban setting. But up here, these skills are absolutely necessary to kind of survive and have a day-to-day life, correct?
Yeah.
So give us an example, like what real world stuff are you doing that you learned here, welding and such, that you put to practical use on the job?
Well, our work, we have cows, and we built a nice oil pipe fencing out along the street. Lots of fencing, and I spent a couple days out there just welding on it for these cows to keep them in, and it looks good.
And it looks good.
Yeah.
But that's important as a welder, right? It has to look good, right? Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you showing me that. Very cool project. Let's walk over and see what these guys are doing. What's your name?
Travis,
Travis. What are you working on here, Travis?
making a table.
Table. And these legs are from horseshoes, right? So this is kind of, it's not scrap material, right? You don't refer to it as scrap, right?
No.
All right, what's your design going to look like?
These are gonna be the legs, and then there'll be some rebar, and then wood on top.
Nice. Excellent. And how long have you been doing this?
2 days.
2 days? What grade are you in?
11th.
11th, right? So are you planning to go through this whole track? What's your plan after this? How are you going to utilize these skills?
I want to learn how to weld better after this.
Yeah. You think you'll go into a career as welding?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you going to work?
I don't know.
Don't know yet? Sky's the limit?
Yeah.
You think you'll go on to Columbia College?
Maybe.
Yeah. What do you think you'll take there?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you showing us. Very active in here, Jason.
What's that?
Very active in here. You got a lot of engaged students. So, is this the stuff they like the most? That you find that the hands-on students gravitate to this stuff?
Yeah, they definitely do. Definitely.
So, does this hands-on work help supplement? Because there's often sort of buckets of students, right? The ones that are more academically inclined, they get the numbers. Like I wasn't a math guy, right? I married a math teacher, so I don't ever have to do math anymore. But that stuff was hard for me, and the hands-on classes made school tolerable for a lot of students. You find that as well?
Yeah, definitely. I have probably about 3/4 of my students are those type of students, and then we also get the academic students too that may want to go into engineering or fabrication or some higher education, and then come back and apply it in our community.
Fantastic. So Jason just told us about engineering. Are we going to see that part of the program as well?
You want to head over there now?
Let's head over there.
All right.
Cool. Thank you very much, sir. It's great to meet you.
Thanks.
Great to meet you.
Yeah. So this whole building, so right here, this is the building that's going to go away. And then, outside here, we can show you the design, but there's going to be a big outdoor area, covered area that's going to be about 60 by 20, just outdoor covered. And then the shop's going to be one big open shop, 70 feet long and then 50 feet back. And then there'll be the ag class here. And then going out this way is going to be where the career center is going to be, kind of right towards the office. So to kind of tie that all together, and it'll actually be a 2-story. And below that, they're going to level this out. And below it is going to be some of the agri-science and the forestry classrooms will be on the lower level, below the shop is how that's going to work out. So that's
very cool.
Yep.
Double decker, huh?
And then this is the engineering class.
Perfect. And you're Ryan?
Yes.
Perfect. And what do you teach, Ryan?
Automotive.
Automotive?
And engineering.
And engineering.
Yep.
All right. Are you finding more and more students going into engineering as a field?
Actually more in automotive at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I'm down in Stanislaus County. We have, pretty powerhouse manufacturing industry, and they all want maintenance mechanics, right?
Yeah.
And I run into kids all the time, and I'm trying to convince them, hey, come be a maintenance mechanic, right? And every one of them is like, no, I want to be an engineer. And so I have to tell them, be a mechanic first and you'll be a dynamite engineer. Yeah. It's tougher to do it in reverse because engineers don't build things. If you're an engineer first, you don't build things mechanics can work on typically, right?
Right. Exactly.
We're seeing that, speaking of automotive, we're seeing that in a lot of automobiles these days, right?
Yeah.
So how do you address that with your student?
I do have students that do come to both automotive and engineering, and I do discuss a lot of engineering in automotive. And actually, exactly like you said, I show them the examples of this engineer here. You could tell who designed this was never worked on a car, and over here's someone that did work on a car. You could see the difference in just the way they're manufactured, the way they're put together, the way you could work on them.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. And you have a CNC mill. Yes. Behind you. When did you? This looks pretty new.
Yes, it is about a year old now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what kind of projects are you doing on this piece of equipment?
We're doing it with engineering, manufacturing processes, which is a third level of engineering. I haven't had any students come that far yet, so we are planning on running just basic parts, just little assemblies that we could make. We are trying to get a lathe in here as well.
Okay.
So we do have some students that are moving forward with the solid modeling and the CNC programming to work with this, but have not reached a point where I could get a student on a machine yet. Okay. So we're still growing, expanding, working our way through it. Engineering's been back 4 years now.
This is the third year.
Yeah, third year.
So, and we just got this last year with strong workforce funds. So this was this was part of our strong workforce engineering proposal, was to get the CNC mill, and then with the lathe is what we're going to be adding to that this year. And again, that would be using the strong workforce funding for that as well.
Fantastic. And a smart investment. Now, you said this is how did you put it? It's level 3 for your engineering?
Yes, it's we start off with basic engineering, then we move into an advanced engineering, and then the manufacturing processes is our capstone. Yeah. So we do have the 3D printers. We have been running a lot of that, but it's an expensive piece of equipment, so it's going to take a more dedicated student to get on these.
So your capstone class, is that aligned with Columbia or MJC? Yosemite College District, Yosemite Community College District, and I know they do a lot of manufacturing work down at MJC. Do they do that up here at Columbia?
Manufacturing Columbia, not that I'm aware of. I do have automotive students that go to Columbia. We are currently aligned with MJC and Delta.
No, oh yeah, that's right, because they lap over in this area. So you have Delta down the hill.
Exactly,
So another example of that sort of secession, right? It goes from one to the other, and then they have an outlet to go down to MJC. And I know the folks down there are working really hard to align with MJC. Same folks I was speaking of earlier, right? That's my community, and they are clamoring for guys with skills just like this.
Yes, they are very much so. And industry, I get a lot from industry as well, and working towards that goal. So that's, I hope we can continue moving forward with this and expand our programs with the our bond that's in place, because we do need to add some power to this building. The building does need to be updated. We don't even have enough bandwidth to operate all of the CAD software we need, so because it's all cloud-based at this point. So, but we do need to, we are working and growing and moving forward.
Fantastic. You start out, are these 3D printers over here?
Correct.
Is that the first part of your program?
Yes. Once we... It's all right. Once we get them solid modeling, we actually get them in here to actually start printing some stuff, because this is the simplest, easiest mode to transfer just from model to a plastic part. It's inexpensive. It is really time consuming. It takes a long time to print stuff. So that's why we have 3 machines, and we just let them run overnight if we have to.
But the process of discovery here, like working with CAD and AutoCAD, that's an industry standard, right? So they're learning that here. That's a skill they're going to be able to take right out of here into manufacturing, correct?
Yeah, correct. In fact, I do have a student that's going to shadow in an engineering firm next week, and she's happy with the CAD, but she's going to go see it in the real world now. So hopefully she'll come back and share with the rest of the class how that went and how things are going.
Bring back some intel.
Yep.
Nice. So you're setting up job shadowing opportunities as well, guys?
Yeah, I have a couple job shadows. I have pathways set up to where I can get students in a shop and for both auto and engineering. This is our first student that's doing it for engineering, but for auto, I do have students that go out and do some occasional work in the shop.
That is a fantastic asset.
That's a big thing that we're continuing to try to help grow in all of our programs, because we feel like that's that work-based learning, getting them out there in the community, not only builds the relationships with our local industry partners, but gets those kids the firsthand real life access to those, to what they're learning here and how it's used in the real world. So.
Help them understand that connection, right? Yep. A lot of times we learn stuff and don't know what it's for until we're confronted with it. And it's super important to get that job shadowing, because that's the practicality. In some cases they're going to be like, maybe I don't like this career and maybe I want to be a welder. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's good to do that as well. So you don't end up walking down a road that, an educational path that it ends up fruitless.
Yeah. It is. And it really helps. And like I said, as for my automotive program, I don't just teach automotive repair. I teach there's a whole industry out there. So even from the design side to, repair to even racing. So it's, I do have students with a vast interest in what direction they want to go in. And I try to get them experience any way we can. And some have just switched from automotive to engineering because they work on a car and they can't fit their hands in to work on it in a certain area. And, hey, this could be designed better. And they'll recognize that and boom, they just want to do engineering.
So let me ask you this. The auto industry is rapidly changing.
Yes.
Right? We live in the state of California. There's a big push for electric vehicles and things like that.
Yes.
Are you integrating that sort of technology into your training program here?
Yeah. I do have 2 hybrids out in the shop, and I do have a full electric vehicle here that we won on a grant. I just during COVID, it got overshadowed by COVID, but we got a award from the Department of Energy for doing an electric vehicle program in high school. So yeah, we are staying with the times. We are moving forward, and progress keeps moving on.
Well, that's super important, man. As it all changes. So
yes.
Awesome. I appreciate your time. Thanks for showing us around.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So if we'll head up to the farm here before he gets rid of those kids. They're done here in about 7 minutes. So you can go up and see Noah, see the farm. Cool. This is awesome, Kevin.
Volt Institute in downtown Modesto is currently accepting applications for our next group of students for maintenance mechanics with hands-on training. Jobs in the industrial maintenance field are expected to increase by 15% in Stanislaus County by 2024. Careers in this field are high-paying, in demand, and have career growth potential. Volt Institute is a nonprofit training center ran in partnership with Stanislaus County Office of Education and Opportunity Stanislaus. If you're looking for a better career, Volt can help. Get more information or enroll now at voltinstitute.com.
So where we're going now is where we put all of our ag stuff into action. So our agri-science, our forestry, natural resources, our welding, our ornamental horticulture, floral design. So we're going up to our school farm here. And this is really where the rubber hits the road and the kids actually apply everything that they're learning in all of our classrooms. So we do everything from livestock up here to building projects. Students will have welded and fixed, put all these fences together, as Devin was saying, talking about doing that. The railing that just came up here was done by our ag students, or by the welding students. Our animal science students can have projects up here. So we've got goats, chickens. We have hogs up here during our fair time, as well as sometimes we'll have sheep and lambs here as well. The lower part of our farm here is where we do all of our vegetable crops. So this is our veg crops. And I think we're going to be heading up right now. They're at the end of each class, the students prepare food from the farm. So we'll kind of show you where they do that. But this is our livestock barns over here on this side. And what's happening right now is at the end of every class that I talked about, we taste some of the food that was grown on the farm. So the kids are going over and they're going to be trying some of the food. This is the end of class, so we're just kind of wrapping things up. But normally in the middle of class, and certainly if you're still around sixth period, you can come back up. I have a class up here as well. So if you want to see kids in action, we'll be planting things up and everything else. But kids are out and they have different tasks around the farm. So whether it's building something, or working in the nursery, or working on fencing, or taking care of the livestock. But really everything that needs to happen on a farm is happening in this class, which is really everything, right? Whether it's cooking or growing food, turning beds, building the necessary structures and or fencing and facilities that need to be done for a farm. Students kind of have their hands in a little bit of everything here. So, hey, Mr. Crossan.
Hello.
How are you doing? Do you remember Kevin from our last meeting?
Yeah,
How are you? Tell us who you are.
I'm Noah Crossan, agriculture and forestry and science teacher,
Nice.
Calaveras High School.
What are we doing here?
Today, we've been working on the farm doing different tasks, and today we harvested some basil and we made some pesto, and students made some pasta pesto with vegetables from the garden. Now we're serving it up.
Fantastic. So, no, we've been talking about like course alignments and articulations. How is this course aligned with your local community college, Columbia?
That's our next class is a forestry, and so that's dual enrolled with Columbia College's Department of Forestry. So students get college credit for 2 semesters of college for taking the forestry course.
And that's like a starter course, right? So that's their entry level. They're preparing here and then they're moving on, right?
Yeah, it's an entry level course at Columbia College, and it's our capstone course for our forestry pathway. And the idea is that students get college credit regardless if they go to Columbia or another junior college, but then they also kind of get a foot in the door and they develop relationships with the junior college and kind of, so it's kind of a win-win situation.
And so in that forestry class, what are they learning?
So they learn about, right now we're learning about fire ecology.
I'm actually glad you said that because it's getting smoky, right? So there's clearly a fire nearby, right? And Kevin and I were talking about kind of the importance of these folks that live in this community, and the threat of fire is probably the most important folks to have the skill like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So students learn, we just did a wildfire safety checklist for our farm and for the houses, and then students are, learning about how fire can be managed. We're doing forest surveys for overstock, understock forests for fire danger, and also logging. So they develop a lot of skills. Some of them going into forestry, some of them just like to be outside and do hands-on tasks. So
that's a good skill to have too, right?
Yeah.
Being outside. Perfect. This looks great. There's a lot of effort into this.
You want to ask any students?
Yes, please.
Anybody want to be interviewed for a podcast about the school farm? Come here.
There you go. All right, there you go.
Jay, come on up. Otherwise, you can head to lunch. Thank you.
So tell me your name.
My name is Jay Morrell.
Okay, and what are you doing here in this class?
Typically, my group especially works in the kitchen up here, but a lot of the times we also planted a full garden bed.
Nice. And today I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, turn that one up. So tell me what happened here today.
Here today we had fresh basil that was grown on farm, so my group went in and we made it into pesto on our own.
Nice. Made that pesto all by yourself, and you guys are enjoying it today?
Yep.
Nice. So, and what's your name?
Keith Lyles. What I usually do here is I usually work down there at the farm. Everywhere, kind of. I do my best to help my group and my group leader. If I'm, hungry, there's good food here.
Yeah. So tell me, in practical terms, what are you getting out of a course like this?
What am I getting out of it? I guess just enjoyment. It's like my second favorite class here.
What's your first favorite class?
I would have to say PE.
Okay, that's fair, right? What do you plan to do after high school?
Game design, game programmer.
Really? So you're into coding and things like that?
Yeah, I'm already learning Lua. I'm trying to learn C# and stuff so I can start Unity.
Do you see any way that you might be able to take, your love of your second favorite class and then kind of put that together with coding?
I mean, yeah, you can program like farm games, like, Farming Simulator, if you ever heard of that.
Like Farmville or something like that?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Excellent. Well, that'd be a smart idea.
Yeah.
All right. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
So yeah, this is our food prep area that we use up here. So we use it as for harvest and clean all our vegetables, and also where the students can prepare food for the students at the end of class. So this space has been here for a couple of years now. In addition to, this greenhouse was funded by CTE, and so this is about 3 years old now. We actually finished this right in the middle of the pandemic. And so this is where we're starting everything, and then we move it over to the high tunnel over here. And then the students also have, this is all the potting area, so where we can have a whole class of students out here potting things up, as well as this high tunnel over here, which we move a lot of plants into. And then this up here is kind of our outdoor classroom area where we gather and where students can, and we can have sometimes we'll have 3 classes up here at a time. We'll have our outdoor recreation class, our crop production class, maybe a forestry class, and then our floral class will also come up here and use use it as well. So the space gets used. And then, like we said, most of the kids in here take ag mech. So a lot of the projects that they do in there, sometimes say, hey, we need this done for the farm. And so they can use their ag mechanics time to work on it, or go down here even during this class and use the shop to build things and manufacture stuff that we need up here. So
excellent.
Yep. So, in this upper part of the farm here, we is all flowers. And so we use our floral design class and our floriculture class. Not only our farm class usually grows them and plants them, and then our floral class will come up and utilize those for designs and selling and everything else. So try to tie in, again, that business aspect. We also run a farmer's market every Thursday evening here on the farm, which again, students can be involved in. So they're not only seeing the growing and the technical side of what farm production, but also the business side of it and what goes into actually, taking that product to market and selling it to get a profit.
So you do a farmer's market up here. You invite the community up here to visit the farm?
Yeah, absolutely. So the community every Thursday, we'll let her go by. Every Thursday evening, the community can come up to the farm. We used to do it at our local market, which was at the government center. But this year it's not in operation. So we decided, well, let's just do the market here at the farm. And it's been great because every Thursday evening, we have people from the community come up here and we advertise it on Facebook and other places. So we get a lot of people, the kids meeting people from our community, the community getting to come up and actually see the farm. They're buying their produce where it's grown, which is pretty neat, right? It's a kind of a neat part of the process.
So that goes back to the conversation we were having earlier about connecting the school back to the community.
Absolutely.
Right? So, when it comes, rubber meets the road. They own this place, right? The taxpayers own this place,
absolutely.
And they should utilize it in that way. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's, the more ways that we can integrate, whether it's the work-based learning programs where we're getting kids in there, and we also invite, our industry partners to come and talk to students in the class. But anytime we can interface with our community, that's what it's, we shouldn't be like something special, right? That's what schools should be designed to do, right? That's
shouldn't be off limits.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yep. So we'd love to create more opportunities, as many opportunities as possible to get our families and our community here on campus. And that the market is one more of those. So.
Excellent. Can we see some medical programs?
Let's do it.
All right.
Ready for Work is made possible with help from our premier podcast sponsor, Bay Valley Tech Code Academy. Bay Valley Tech offers free and low-cost coding programs for students seeking life-changing careers in software development. Bay Valley Tech focuses on teaching in-demand web development skills. Unlike other coding and technical schools, Bay Valley Tech leverages a unique community-based training strategy. Professional instructors help students in the Central Valley learn how to use online programming languages to accelerate their careers. Locations in Modesto and Stockton, and a free code academy as an online program, Bay Valley Tech is a great place to learn how to code, but it is an even more amazing place to build connections necessary to land a paid software internship or web development job. Learn more about this fast-growing code academy at bayvalleytech.com.
So this is our medical science building. You can come on in and this front room here, and Suzanne will be able to kind of walk you through a little bit more, set up into all of our Paxton Patterson career stations. So you can see them all set up, and here's our...
Oh, great. Hi. How are you guys?
Very good. So let's tell me who you are.
Oh, right.
You can hold that if you like.
Really? I can. Oh, wow. I don't like microphones. But hey, all right. So my name is Suzanne Butler, and I am the medical science CTE teacher. I've been at Calaveras now for 6 years, and this is our lovely program out here.
Okay. So tell me about your program here.
Well, actually, let me call out Stephanie Attaway, who is the Paxton Patterson instructor for that. So come on over, Stephanie. Yes, here you go. And a microphone.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Attaway. I'm a CTE instructor here at Calaveras High. The room that you are standing in is our Paxton Patterson program. It is our Health Foundations class. It is 17 different stations in the medical field where the kids get hands-on activities as well as online instruction and research. So they get to decide if they truly want to be in the medical field.
So exploratory first as they go through each of the stations, And then what if they decide they want to be in the medical field? What happens after that?
Then they can enter into my medical terminology class, my EMR, which is emergency medical responder, or my intro to EMT class.
Excellent. So, Suzanne, I want to bring you back in here. Kevin and I already talked about, let me just get me on audio here. Kevin and I already talked about, I came up for an advisory board meeting. I was super impressed, especially with the medical programs and how aligned you are with the community, right? We all know that our goal is, align with community colleges and create that pathway. But you guys have done a lot of legwork to build alliances over the years for really programs that are super important to your community. And the reason for that is because the demographics show your population is going to be aging. They're going to be more retired folks, and those folks require more medical attention, right? So tell me how you pulled that off.
So, well, before I came here, our program has been around for quite a few years, and they had a great relationship with Mark Twain Medical Center already. In the last 6 years, we have built a better relationship with Mark Twain with extra funding from them and other sources to provide new equipment. We have added approximately 3 new sites just at Mark Twain Medical Center. Mark Twain, the healthcare district has also jumped on board. They're providing new sites for me, along with our local agencies from American Legion Ambulance, Calco Fire, San Andreas Fire. At times, I will have Central Fire taking my students. So these kids are getting the opportunity to get real life experience and hands-on skills that you can't get anywhere else. I forget to mention that the Angels Camp Veterinary Hospital is one of our sites, along with the funeral home here in town.
So that's actually an interesting piece as well, right? So you cover so much there, and you guys have been able to sort of leverage private corporate funding to fund some of these programs. You're getting some really cool sort of exploratory stuff that combines technology. Tell us about that. I don't want to give it away, so tell me about that.
Okay, so we managed to purchase an ambulance simulator, which is a life-size ambulance, realistic. Our students have the opportunity to actually be in there, learn their skills with actually not having an instructor involved. We're actually watching from the outside. So they're actually doing it without us even being inside. So that's a really cool thing to see.
Is that this piece of equipment?
Yes, the piece of equipment outside.
Can you show it to us?
You want to grab the keys? So
nice.
Yeah.
She's getting the keys. This is exciting. So tell us about how each of the stations work. There's 17 stations here. And then, so where would a student start? Or do they just come in and they start at one and go to the others?
That's her.
So the way Paxton Patterson works is I give them a partner. Everybody's assigned to a station. And then they have 10 to 14 days worth of work to do at each station. And then once we complete it, they rotate. They go to the next station. So they actually have an opportunity to hit each one of these stations throughout the year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent. Show us the ambulance simulator.
Come on.
That is Alex. That's our mannequin. That's our skeleton there, He's seen better days.
All right. I'm going to give that back to you. Tell us about what's going on here.
So this is the actual backside of an ambulance. This is what it looks like. Gurney's in there, the airway seat's in there, suction on the wall, oxygen on the wall. I have yet to stock it. We are working on that. Seats lift up. This is the actual working structure of what they would be on if they were in an ambulance setting, EMT, paramedic, that type of thing. So I can actually put them inside this ambulance. I've got 4 cameras, 1 in each corner, and I can monitor them from the outside, run them through a scenario where they actually have to use the skills we're learning in class and do patient assessment and provide care in the back of this ambulance. The fun thing about it is we can hook it up to the compressor. The airbags raise up, and I can actually move this ambulance so I can simulate going down the road.
So that's just about as real world as you can get without driving an ambulance, right?
Yeah, real world and contained and a learning environment where this isn't offered in actual EMT school. This is something that, because of Calaveras and then the community, like we were able to purchase with the funds coming in. EMT school itself outside at the colleges don't have this.
So this is, I just want to kind of describe this because both audio and video, this is a dual axle trailer that you would tow. So that mobility, do you take this to career fairs and things like that?
So we've actually taken this down to Jenny Lynn Elementary. They do a fine arts day, and the kids actually got to see the ambulance, go get set up inside of it. We actually did backboard a few kids. So because of that time that we did spend, we're actually going to be doing a not a fine arts day, but like a fine arts medical day. So the kids are going to learn about hands-only CPR, maybe some stop the bleeding type of things. How do you call 911? How do you get help? So we are trying to bring this all down to the elementary level and working on programs for the middle school program.
So I'm going to turn up Kevin's microphone. So again, Kevin, this is one of those things that we discussed about that funnel and that and connecting with kids that are much younger than the high school demographic that we all work with.
Absolutely. And that's exactly the goal of all these programs. Since we are in we talked about just the 6 elementary schools, the middle school and the high schools, we can go out and we can do the outreach, get these kids understanding and interested in these programs from that young age. And I mean, how cool is this, right? You show up with an ambulance, kids get to walk through, right, and start thinking about it. And then when they get to the middle school, we've been talking about starting a program there next year, medical, just kind of introductory stuff where kids can...
Actually, my goal for next year is to provide a Paxton Patterson program that will have an introduction to all of our pathways here at Calaveras High School. So as an 8th grader, they'll get to experience a little bit of everything and then have a better idea of where they want to go in high school. So they'll have a better direction, which will lead to, if the kids want to be more into, you can say blue collar or like the ag, the welding, they already have a better idea that freshman year coming in. If they want to pursue medical, we're developing a whole new pathway and adding more classes for next year. So these kids coming in the next couple of years are going to have a better direction, and hopefully we'll be able to keep those kids here locally and have that training, and they get to go out.
And kind of the goal of that, Kevin, is because, we want the kids to, by the time they get to high school, at least kind of have something in their mind about what they want to do. And again, minds can change, but I think at this point they have no idea. And so they might start a pathway like, oh, I'm not interested in engineering. I'm going to try this. But we really want to get them thinking about it at a younger age so that when they do get here, we have a higher retention rate in each of our pathways so that they know they already have an interest in that, and they're more likely to complete that pathway and then be better equipped for whether that's going on to, post-secondary education and or straight into the workforce. We feel like if they're coming with a better idea, and again, that starts in elementary school, getting them thinking, and so that's kind of the overall goal.
I agree. As maybe I'm pointing out the obvious here, but to invest in a piece of equipment like this as training, right? Y'all live in a rural community, right? I don't imagine you have an overabundance of ambulances available that you could say, hey, come to our high school, park here for, a couple of hours, right? Because that, if a call happens, they got to cut, they got to go, right? Okay. So this really allows a lot of flexibility for you guys in order to train, but it doesn't tie up the community resources, right?
That's correct.
So fantastic idea. I love this. This is cool. Dude, I don't imagine you put Mr. Hesser in there and then drive him around, right?
Simulation.
Only simulation. Perfect. Well done, you guys. This is really fantastic. Again, Kevin, I'm super impressed with the way that you guys have aligned your programs. You have an abundance of stuff going on for your kids. And man, the future just looks so bright for you guys.
Well, we have an incredible staff here. I think that's, that's 9/10 of the battle, right? Having the right people to do that. And we've got some really experienced, neat people at this high school that are really committed to their pathways, committed to the community. And that's what's made all the difference. And, if with this bond coming up, we're looking at expanding what we can offer kids and giving them the best opportunity. And this community's already been so committed to these, and we feel confident that they're going to see the value in what we're doing here and continue to support this so that we can continue to support the community.
Awesome. This has been a really fun episode of Ready for Work for me to make. I'm going to give you the last pitch on the bond because it's important, right? Elections coming up. folks got to come out. They got to vote, whichever way they're going to vote. But man, this is a huge investment in this community and the future of this community.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my last pitch would basically be you see what we're doing here. You see how committed we are to these kids, how committed we are as a staff to this community. And so I hope that you can see the value in that. And again, it's taxes, we're paying it. But if we don't invest in this as a community, nobody else is going to invest in this. And so hopefully you can see the value, you see what's happening. Come by the school, reach out to us. If you want to come and see what's happening here in person, come check it out. We're more than happy to show you around in person and so you can see what you'll be investing in.
Cool. I'm going to flip this around. This has been Ready for Work. I'm at Calaveras High School. This has been a fun episode. Awesome. First one I've got to go out because of COVID and visit you guys. And man, super impressed. Well done, you guys.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks,
Bye.
Seth.
Thank you.